Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of their upcoming game matchups. So we finally made it to the season finale, and this week the Texans will be going on the road to face the Indianapolis Colts in a rematch from Week 1, where everything probably went south in the AFC South for both teams. But we'll get into all that a few minutes later. Right now, I want to do a quick recap, very quick recap of Week 17. Um, we just wasn't there. Like you know what I'm saying? It's simple as that. Um, Texans they played lackluster as usual, but it was also kind of surprising since this was the previous few weeks they've really been kind of just balling out a little bit. Especially for the end of the season. They even got a win against the Tennessee Titans on the previous week before, but Sunday, I don't know what it was. Maybe they didn't get to the collard greens and ham or the black eyed peas in time. They maybe there was just way too much champagne the night before to celebrate the New Year. But they just really were not on it. Well, it's no surprise they wasn't on their best game. We only got 2 wins this year, but it just did not happen for them. So that it is what it is as far as that goes. Uh so moving on from that, Andre Johnson, a Hall of Fame finalist for the second straight year. Hopefully, he really gets this. This dude is, it's no look. It's we all know the Andre Johnson story. He gave all of his, pretty much most of his career, dedicated to the Texans. Most of that being with losing seasons. I saw the clip earlier this week where he was at a press conference talking about, he talking about his resume of why he should get in. And he just straight up said what every Texans fan will tell you. He hasn't really played with a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he still put up great, consistent numbers. He's still been like consistently a feared wide receiver by the defenses. So hopefully they listen and they just shoot him in there just based off that alone. Because he really deserves that straight up. So another news item this week: new uniform changes. So there was a report going around talking about that the ownership or management or whatever is considering changing the uniforms. We've been around about 20 something years. We don't really have like a throwback uniform per se, but it's hard to be a throwback when you been born in a new millennium. But um, one of the designs or prototypes that they suggested was with the old Oilers colors, and it had the letters in like old English, and so I think it was like H Town or something like that. And a lot of the fans kind of got excited because for the longest time, some of the fans have been like, "We need to have the Oilers colors back." You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I do like the Oilers colors. As far as like having them back in Houston, I would love to see that. Although, what I'm saying, I understand like, with certain ownerships and things like that and rights to whatever, uh, they probably won't be back, in my lifetime, to be honest with you. And I don't mind, and I'm here for a new uniform change 100%. However, I kind of want to see like what we can do with our own colors. I mean, I love the steel blue. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love it. If we're going to do a new uniform change, I would love to see a tweak on the design. Like me personally, I think the only change that I've really seen happen was the color rush, steel blue color rush, and those designs look a little bit different than just our basic design. And I guess the one I'm referring to is the one with the all steel blue, but they got the red letters with the white outline. Like those are hard to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Those are pretty dope to me. So what I'm saying, I would love to see maybe another alternate of that. tweak that up a little bit, or just come up with a whole new other design. If we're gonna go forward with like making a new uniform, but yeah, I'm definitely in favor of doing something with just our own colors, as opposed to the Oilers colors. To me, it kind of shows that we're a new team. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. A lot of the Texans fans used to be Oilers fans, and they want to kind of tip their hat to that past and that culture that was here, when the Oilers were here before they moved to Tennessee. However, I think it's very important to kind of really just take ownership of this city and just kind of do something with the colors that were created when the Texans, you know, when the Texans were created. So that's my take on it. Just we're going to do a new uniform change. Let's do something with the colors that we have moving forward. So my final little 9-game preview item, off-season predictions. And so Texan season is done, and it went from having a lot of expectations about what this team would look like, being led by Davis Mills and blah 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 blah, and Lovie Smith, this that, to we don't know who's going to be here after Monday. You know what I'm saying? So will Davis Mills still be here? Will he still be in the starting role? Uh, I can probably answer you that he probably won't be in the starting role. Um, Pep Hamilton, will he be here? Anybody on that coaching staff? You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with our draft? So I just want to throw out a couple of my predictions. These are probably not even hot takes. I think that Pep Hamilton might be the only coach that gets fired uh, coming up in this offseason. And I feel like they might give Lovey Smith one more chance unless they just really, really have a guy that they're going after. But I definitely think Pep Hamilton will at least catch the axe this year. And the reason being is like it's obvious, Davis Mills did not play well. But coming into the season, we thought he was going to be way better than what he was. And if he wasn't, we didn't think that, he would just kind of take a step back like he has. And so with him playing like that, some people have they put the blame on him, obviously, but some people have also put the blame on Pep Hamilton and his play calling. Um, Me personally, I think that I think his play calling was based on what they saw with Davis Mills and what they feel like Davis Mills can do. As I mentioned a couple of times, Pep Hamilton has made a couple of comments and not coming directly out of his mouth, but not all of them coming directly out of his mouth, but some of them they'll say something on. Sometimes they'll say something on the. Excuse me. They'll say something on like the on the broadcast with the analysts, and they'll just talk about things that Hamilton talked about with them. So I think one of the things that popped up or really was just glaring coming from Hamilton's side was Davis Mills doesn't have a lot of experience. And this is a guy that worked with Justin Herbert. He famously worked with Andrew Luck. So guys that really, had extensive, college careers. And here he goes trying to do something with this third round pick who's only played like a handful of games and all that. So um, he, I think that might, I think that has been considered, but I also think that they felt like he could do a lot more. He could bring Davis Mills into being a lot more than what he has this season. So that's my one. That's my first prediction. Pep Hamilton's going to be first, probably be the only coach fired. What was my other ones? Oh, I had so many. So the quarterback situation, and when I'm talking about the quarterback situation, I'm talking about first I was going to talk. You know what? When I said that, I was going to talk about the draft picks. Let me go back to like our actual quarterback situation. So I'm not sure how to work, but I don't think Davis Mills will be back in a starting role Um, I want to go so far as to say like he won't be back on the team, but yeah, I think that's I don't know. He might not be back on the team. I'm gonna just put a might. Just put an asterisk by that. Write that down. Put an asterisk by that because he might not be back on the team. They might just cut him. He got a rookie contract, third round pick. I don't think they paid him too much. You know what I'm saying? That'll just be like, oh, they can't cut him. He got to be here for such and such and such. He got guaranteed. Nah, I think if anything, they'll probably either cut him. Maybe they'll trade him, but I do not believe he'll be a starting quarterback for the Houston Texans again after this season. Sorry. My other offseason prediction. So going back to the draft, quarterback situation, if you will. So my biggest, I think everybody can all agree that Texans are taking a quarterback in this draft, whether it's Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. Now, what I will say is I'm surprised nobody has been talking about Stroud a lot, but especially before the game this past Saturday, where he almost brought his team to win that game. Uh, I'm surprised it's been real quiet on him up until this point. Like everything's been like Bryce Young this, Jalen Carter this, blah blah blah. But as far as like Stroud goes, I think he's just as talented as Young. Um, you know what I'm saying? He seems like a competitor. You know what I'm saying? Throws the ball well, can scramble pretty great as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans pick Stroud over Young. Now, I wouldn't be mad, you know what I'm saying, at all. You got the number one pick. It's sitting right there for you. So uh, I definitely wouldn't be mad at that. So my last prediction: the Texans should secure this number one pick. I'm sorry, but they should definitely secure it this week. I think the Bears are like right on their tails for catching the number one pick, but I think they sat down Justin Fields for this last game. So we'll see what happens with that. So those are my predictions. Now let's get into where it go. Yes, let's get into my quick little game plan, game preview. So excuse me. Texans are visiting the Indianapolis Colts. Like I said, it was a rematch from week one where the Texans jumped up to a 20-point lead and they blew that. So what they had to do was they ended up doing was tying the game. A lot of pre-snap penalties in the fourth quarter and overtime for the Texans that kind of derailed things for a bit. That prevented them from getting game-winning scores. So here we are now for both teams actually. Texans they had their expectations, but they really weren't that high. So after that, their season kind of fell, and it didn't hurt too much to fall flat on their face until the fans picked the picked them up and dropped them back down again over a couple other things. Um, as far as the Colts go, they had way higher expectations. They had the better team coming into this regular season. However, things just did not turn out for them. They fired the coach, Matt Ryan. He didn't play particularly well, which led to him getting benched. And also, Matt Ryan. Who else? Matt Ryan. That led to him getting benched. But also they've had injuries here and there. So I know Jonathan Taylor missed a couple games. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing this week or not. But it pretty much is what it is with the Colts. And so now they're closing out their season at home against us. So there's a few things I do want to see from the Texans. So I want to see more of the running backs. And when I wrote this note down, I should have said more of the running backs excluding Rex Burkhead. And that's no disrespect to Rex Burkhead, pretty solid player, but we kind of want to see, what I'm saying, we kind of want to see some of the guys that are a little bit younger and able to give extra boost when it's time to spell the main running back, which is Damian Pierce at the time. So yeah, I definitely want to see more of the running backs, just kind of mixing it up. Definitely Royce Freeman, my dog OG. So I want to see him. You know what I'm saying? Definitely get into the mix, and see out of those two if we can like build up on a rushing attack going into next year. One last send off from Davis Mills. So like I said, I did hint that he's likely not going to have the starting job, and that's just my guess, or whatever. I did hint at that, but if he is searching for a starting job, or if they let him go, um, then yeah, this will probably be like his last send off for Mills, for all you Mills mania folks, or whatever y'all call it. You know what I'm saying? Just one last good game. That he can kind of like put on tape and show to other teams that may or may not be interested. And final thing, an actual win from the Texans. So this first game ended up being a tie. We need an actual win this time. Close the season out with a win. No ties. Just go out there, play your best football like you've been playing in the past month, and what I'm saying, just come back with a win. That's all that is. So um, few things to look forward to in this game. I want to see more of the running backs. I want one last send off from Davis Mills, one more game where he just balls out, and then an actual win from the Texans. That's all I want. It don't even have to be in that order, but please make sure that happens. So anyway, I'm Brandon Simmons for Brandon Simmons.biz. Holla black.